Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in today for our session on PostgreSQL 18 performance improvements. Today, we have a very important guest with us, Bruce Momjian, who is the current VP Postgres Evangelist at EDP. And at the same time, he is the core team member at PostgreSQL Global Development Group, which means you're going to get insights right from the powerhouse himself today. So joining him is Umair Shahid, who's the founder of Stormatics, who will be moderating this fireside session. And before I hand over the controls to the speakers, I would like to go over a few housekeeping items. This session is being recorded, and you're going to receive the recording afterwards. If you have any questions throughout the session, please feel free to use either the Q&A box or the webinar chat, and we will address them in the Q&A segment at the end. And of course, we have a poll that will be shared as well during the session. So keep an eye out for that as well. Over to you, Bruce and Amar.
Thank you, Annie. And Bruce, absolute delight to have you over. Thank you so much for taking the time and joining us. I must say, I really appreciate your evangelism. I think that being around in the Postgres space for as long as you have been and continued evangelism around the world, I don't think anybody in the community comes even close to the amount of effort that you put in. I really appreciate it, and I'm really glad that to have you here speaking to us about this brand new release that we have.
Yeah, I enjoy
So
doing it. Thanks.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, Postgres 18, it's been out almost 2 months now. We're closing in on 2 months. Exciting release. Well, a new release is always exciting. I think that we've been averaging more than 150 new features with every major release that have gone out over the past many years. So, every new release that comes out is massively improved from the previous one. And there's so many new features, but what we would like to do is zero in on the features that focus on performance for this session, right?
Yeah,
So
this release count was a little high, actually. Usually it's 170, 180. This one, I think 206, which was on the high side. It's kind of interesting.
yeah, so even more exciting, right? So now, my first question to you, somebody just upgrades to Postgres 18, no change in anything, not the application, not the configuration, nothing, just an upgrade. Will they see an improvement in performance?
Yeah. Yeah, they certainly will. We really try to, if we can make an improvement, it's invisible to the user, that's a win all the time. Yeah,
Yeah.
we have discussions a lot of times. People come along and they're like, well, we want to make this optimization or that optimization. And we always try and do it in a way that's transparent to the user. But if it requires somebody to do something to take advantage of the optimization, it becomes much harder to justify because every additional API change that you make, or hey, try this thing, 1% of users are going to try it. And so you're kind of like, okay, now we've cut out 99% of our users who aren't going to try this thing. Is it really going to make that much of a difference? And if it doesn't, and it's not worth the extra code or the extra documentation, we kind of skip it a lot of times.
Okay, interesting. And so it also is interesting that no code change and just an upgrade will move the needle. It just makes
Yeah.
the overall thing go faster. It's just an upgrade. And maybe there are features in there, and we will touch on some of them as we move forward. That with a little bit of change, you can actually move the needle much
Yeah.
further.
Somebody did I think Thomas Mondo did I think a 10-year analysis of, I took the same benchmark and just ran it default for 10 years. And I think I think it was an 8 to 12% improvement every year in that
Wow.
benchmark, basically saying, all right, you didn't change anything, but this got faster, that got faster.
Yep. Yep. No, I did see that, and I think that it's very interesting that again, year over year, between 10 and 15% means that every 5 years it's kind of doubling in performance. Every
That's
five to
probably
7
true.
years.
Yeah.
That's pretty phenomenal. pretty phenomenal.
Yeah. Now, I mean, you can suggest that we were idiots and the fixes we're making, should have been fixed a long time ago. I don't think we're idiots. I think these are basically architectural changes that um, we just didn't think of, or we didn't realize the impact of. There's about a lot of cases where I look at a change and I'm like, is that really going to do anything? Is that really going to move the needle? MemoWise was a classic one from years ago. There seemed like so many criteria had to be present. It was an automatic feature, but it was so
Mhm.
many criteria that needed to be present for it to be activated that I didn't really think it was going to do much. But once we released it, yeah, we saw really a big bump from a lot of people saying, "Hey, this thing went just 10 times faster," or whatever. Um, so that was yeah. Sometimes you can't anticipate the
Yeah.
impact of something.
Also, I think that as the adoption of Postgres increases, we get exposed to more use cases, and we learn more about what needs optimization, because the community cannot think of absolutely every use case out there. Right? I think that the adoption also kind of triggers some of these improvements.
Yeah, and we're definitely getting into larger and larger data loads. We're getting into more data warehouse style queries, and how are we going to handle those? And so yeah, we just keep every year we're chipping away at that big monument.
So, with that, let's dive into, one of the most talked about features in this release, and that's, asynchronous IO. So, let's start from the basics. What is it? What does asynchronous IO mean?
So our design philosophy from the beginning has been to be as operating system agnostic as possible, meaning that we push as much functionality to the operating system as we can. So we've relied on the operating system to do prefetching of prefetching of blocks, and so forth since we began. Now, there is an API you can give to the kernel to instruct it to prefetch something. So that capability we've used for a number of years. But there's only a limited number of cases where that actually becomes useful, particularly in things like, uh, well, vacuum would be one, bitmap index scans would be the other, where we know ahead of time what we need. But um, Andres Freud from Microsoft really took on this monumental task of